So yeah, I mean, I've read that you're overcome with the emotion of actually having a crowd that were pulling behind you. It was playing around the world. You didn't necessarily play in front of favourable crowds, but this was an occasion that you could savour.
Yeah, look, I mean, I felt the energy, and look, a few of the guys have sort of said it was a little bit, a few of the Aussie boys says they were pulling for you hard, and I didn't really notice it. I was just sort of just playing whatever I did, but probably the 18th, because a lot of people say, how do you play in front of crowds? And to be honest, you really don't see them. It's just in the background. But then that's when I really sort of, with a 4-shot lead, and I hit my 3rd shot over the green, that's where I just looked around and thought, this is pretty cool. Up until then, you don't have the opportunity to do that. But then once I'm on the green, I'm thinking, well, I can't 5-putt from here or 4-putt from here. I'm only 20 feet away. And I just sort of just stopped and looked around and thought it was amazing.
So you were staying with Paul DiBernardo. I mean, that's old school. I mean, I know Paul really well. Paul was our president up until a couple of years. Yeah, he's still a great guy, him and Maureen. But I mean, this is old school. This is you getting billeted out. What happened when you walked off the 18th green? I mean, what were the celebrations like? And I mean, did you find yourself, sleeping in a single bed back at the DiBernardo's house later that night? And what was it like back then?
Well, actually, I mean, we did have a double bed because Kerry was with me, so we were. So that part was all right. They were fantastic. I mean, I think it's grappa or something like that. The rocket fuel they had. So I had a couple of those, maybe in celebration afterwards. I'm not sure what it is. It's some 40% proof stuff that they drink. I don't know whether it's my favourite, but it was great fun, the hospitality, and we have it. And they were friends with Peter Thompson. I think Peter Thompson was staying or had stayed with the parents, Paul's parents. I can't remember the name or something like that.
Yeah, Paul's father, Ido DiBernardo, was he was an absolute power broker at Paraparaumu during the 80s and responsible for a lot of those New Zealand Opens. I mean, nothing happened at Paraparaumu, evidently, unless Ido said it happened. He was a highly respected individual. Yeah. It was great. It was so I was made to feel welcome. So when I came back when I moved, I'd stayed with Paul and Maureen maybe for a year beforehand. I think maybe only one. I don't think it was 2, but it sort of became my regular stop, and I felt quite comfortable there, and I was made to feel welcome, and Ido and Paul and all the drinks and all that type of stuff. It was good fun. It was great, and I think that night we did venture into Wellington, I think, there was a few there. I remember Jack Newton was there because he was commentating and coming up and congratulated me. And I think we looked back on I wish I had a chance to talk to him. I saw a replay a few years later, and I think he was commentating saying there was one shot I couldn't play. I'm over the back of the green or doing something. He's dead. He's going to have to do this or do that. Oh no, he's going to pull a flop shot out, and I think I hold it or something like that. And he goes, well, he wasn't allowed to do that. So it was great fun. It was a lot of fun, and I'd say the more you look back on it, have your first win at home. That was brilliant. So 97 almost begins as 96 finished. The Johnny Walker Classic, which was a co-sanctioned event with the European Tour at this stage, came down to Australia. It was staged at Hope Island, and again, a young Leo Barber, almost shadowing to you, took annual leave and headed up, and I was actually preparing the greens for that event as well, Michael. So an amazing field, a lot of big names. Talk us through the early rounds there in 97.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It was also, I think it's fantastic how these big tournaments don't happen without volunteers and people like yourself who take your annual leave and you go out and you help all the other superintendents prepare golf courses. I mean, people ask me what's your favourite golf course and whatever, and I say, well, it's a bit unfair because every golf course we go to is the best it's ever going to be. So, and you guys do a fantastic job, and we're very lucky to do that. But
I know a lot of it is volunteer work and stuff like that. So Johnny Walker's no different. Unbelievable field. It was just, I still think to this day, probably one of the strongest fields I've ever played in, apart from maybe a major, but it was unbelievable. They had Freddie Couples, Montgomery, Faldo, you name it, they were there. All the stars
John
were there.
Daly.
So it's fantastic. And a bit like myself, you know, pretty much the way I've approached my golf is that I just want to get off to a good start and get myself going. And I don't mind sort of being in the shadows and just whatever, because I know what I can do. So I start off with a 68 and followed up with another 68, and just again putting well, hitting a lot of good iron shots, and I seem to, I think Ernie Els, he was oops, sorry, he was the one who was leading. Well, I was tied with the lead with or something like that. And he's in the press conference there, and I remember him saying, "Oh, it's good to see all these, you know, younger golf pros coming up, and you know, the world's a small place now in terms of golf, and people are coming from everywhere." Because I think Ernie was the number one player in the world at the time,
He was, yeah.
close to it. And then someone pointed out to me, he says, "You know, Ernie's saying you're one of the young players. Well, actually, you're a year older than him." So, yeah, I mean, it was, so now all of a sudden I'm thinking, this is pretty cool, and all I want to do is compete. It's all I've always wanted to do. I've never played it for money and all that. I just want to compete, and I couldn't wait to get out on the third day. Because I got paired with Ernie Els and got paired with him in the final round. And I just, final group, big tournament. I mean, the nerves are just all over this place. But through what I've done over the last 6-7 years, I've got a fairly good idea of how I'm going to handle this. And one of the ones is, I have these little sayings, and one of them is, no matter what way I can think of stuffing this tournament up, it's been done before, don't worry about it. Yeah, this sort of fatalistic approach, and just, I believe mentally you can never be calm in this situation. You have these sports psychologists who talk about being calm and calm state. You're never calm. There will always be wind on the water, or I imagine your mind's like a lake, and if it's dead calm, that's your mind. And as long as there'll always be wind on the water. I don't think you should sort of fight that. There's always going to be ruffles, and you're going to be nervy in that. As long as that wind doesn't become gale force, you can handle most situations, and that's all I try and do. And to be honest, third round, again, I'm just treading water. I'm just trying to stay alive and keep myself in there and waiting for the final round.
So you get into the final round and you're paired with Ernie again, the number one player in the world, and you're going neck to neck with him. You're sticking with him. This young Kiwi isn't going away. And it was incredibly exciting as you come into that back nine, and your name's right up there on the leaderboard beside Ernie. And you get to the 15th hole. And I want to discuss an incident that happened on the 15th hole, because it's something that has stuck with me and still resonates with me. I think it underpins the absolute professionalism and integrity of the sport, but also clearly the honesty and integrity of Michael Long. So there was something happening on the 15th green. No one else saw it except Michael Long. Talk me through that moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're right. The integrity in the sport and the way we play. I'm like 99.9% of us all like to do the right thing. We play by the rules. So I remember on about the 11th hole, I'm going all right. I'm playing against Ernie, and I'm going okay. And the thing is, I didn't see any shot Ernie played on the whole round. Final 36 holes, I've only watched one shot, and I've hit the shot up this par 5 and the tee shot, and Ernie's about 20 behind me. So I'm feeling quite good. I've just driven Ernie by, and he's waiting for the green to clear.
he stands up there and just hits this most majestic 3-wood. And I caught myself right then. I was a spectator. I just watched him play.
Yep.
Oh, that is great. Man, I'm supposed to be playing this guy. What are you doing? So he birdies, I par, and then I think I bogey the next or whatever. So now I'm 1 behind. And on the hole before that, 15th, 14th, I hit this tee shot, which was not great. And then Ernie followed up and hit an even worse shot. And we both make pars. I thought that's a bit strange. And then on the 15th, we're in the middle of the fairway, and I've hit a shot to 40 feet, just on the edge of the green, literally on the edge of the green. And he's second to play. And he hits this shot so far right. It's unbelievable. I'm going, I reckon I'm in with a chance here. Things aren't going the way Ernie wants them to go. He hits a pretty good recovery shot to about 10 feet, 8 feet. And it was an awful day. It had been raining all day. We were under umbrellas. We actually come off for a rain delay. Cars were getting bogged in the car park. It was horrendous. And so I noticed my balls, there's a little runner of kite coming onto the green, and my ball's sort of right on it, and line it up, and then have a look. And I have a dot on top of my ball marking, and I look up to the hole, and then look back, and it's moved. Oh my God. And I sort of stood there for about 2 seconds, sort of stunned. And then I sort of backed off and I said, Ernie, my ball's moved. And he goes, what do you mean, cousin? I'm going, oh, it moved. And he goes, oh, no, I can't have. And he was, the way, a bit like how we all like to play our sport, I think, from the Southern Hemisphere, hard but fair. And he didn't want to see that. He says, you sure? And I said, yeah, it moved. So we replaced it. And I then pretty much hit a putt, lips out actually, hit a great putt. So almost got away with it, but then you give Ernie Els, the #1 player in the world, an 8-footer to sort of bury you a little bit, or go one ahead and he hold it. So it all sort of turned on that. But it sort of didn't. He went and birdied the next, and he's 2 up with 3 to go. And then with 2 to go, 3 to go. Actually, I'm getting losing track now. He's 2 up. He's 3 up with 2 to go, sorry. And then I birdie the next. He pars it. So now I'm 2 behind going up the last. And the one place you can't miss it is left. He misses it left. And I'm thinking, if I birdie this, I'm going to be in a playoff. And I hit this shot right up and down the flag, but it came up 40 short. He chips it on to about 12 feet. It's about the best he could do. And then my birdie putt, I think, just died just short of the hole. And he had 2 putts to win. So it was great. I mean, it was. I don't know how to explain it, because a lot of guys play by these rules all the time, and sort of felt a bit of a fuss was made about nothing, because it is part of the game. But believe me, I got a lot of. Look, I mean, I got to meet royalty, won a Fair Play Award. Somehow I won a Fair Play Award. I think it was Bullymore, the yachtsman, turned his solo race around the world, turned his yacht around and went around and turned back and went and saved someone from their boat that had capsized. That was more my calling a penalty on myself. It's more fair play than Tony Bullymore. I don't know. But look, it sort of helped me get a few invites into Europe, because by that stage I'd earned enough money, so it sort of made my CV stand out a little bit more. So, apart from the win, it worked out fine.